Open minds, open source, open bars, openness is usually seen as a great virtue. But when it comes to open borders for immigrants and open markets for free trade, leading Democrats and Republicans sound more like the rednecks on South Park than the wise statesmen they purport to be.
They took our jobs! They took your jobs!
They took your jobs!
They took your jobs!
President Obama supports the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would lower trade barriers among a dozen countries. But most leading Democrats, including Harry Reid, former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley, and progressive Senator Elizabeth Warren, are opposed. And Hillary Clinton, who supported the deal as Secretary of State, is now hedging as she seeks her party's presidential nomination. There are some intellectual property provisions that are troubling, but that's not what most opponents are bothered by. Democrats have long insisted on fair trade rather than free trade, which only makes it harder for poorer countries to compete with the U.S. by creating rules and regulations that raise their costs. If there's one thing that virtually all economists agree on, it's that reducing trade barriers creates a richer, more prosperous, and more peaceful world. Former advisors to George W. Bush and Barack Obama have even signed an open letter urging fast-track approval of the Trans-Pacific Partnership for the same reasons that Adam Smith touted free trade in The Wealth of Nations. It is, he said, the maxim of every prudent master of a family never to attempt to make at home what it will cost him more to make than to buy. As it is with families, so it is with nations. If Mrs. Clinton doesn't want to listen to Adam Smith or her former self, she might listen to her husband, who signed the North American Free Trade Agreement over the objections of his own party back in 1993.
We have made a decision now that will permit us to create an economic order in the world that will promote more growth, more equality, better preservation of the environment, and a greater possibility of world peace. We are on the verge of a global economic expansion that is sparked by the fact that the United States at this critical moment decided that we would compete, not retreat.
Now, if the Democrats are driven nuts by the idea of open markets, Republicans go bananas over the notion of open borders. Virtually all GOP contenders for the Republican presidential nomination have called for a timeout or a slowdown on immigration until they say the border is fully secured, whatever that means. And most want only to let in immigrants with work skills that they say will help the economy and not take away or lower wages for native-born workers. Think about it. Republicans routinely complain that the government can't deliver the mail or educate children, but they're convinced that government bureaucrats can perfectly adjust the mix of foreign workers in the vast and complicated American economy. Yet even economists who are critical of immigrants with low skills acknowledge that they don't take jobs from native workers. Instead, they head to places where the economy is booming and employers are desperate for extra bodies. And they stop coming or go back home when the work dries up, especially if they know they'll be able to cross borders safely and legally. But Republicans don't have to take it from libertarians. They can just listen to a guy named Ronald Reagan.
Why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here. And when they want to go back, they can go back, and they can cross and open the border both ways.
Open minds, open markets, open borders, yeah, they're all good things. For Reason TV, I'm Nick Gillespie.